We are live. Yes, it is Friday. I don't know why it doesn't feel like a Friday, but it does in a way not feel like a Friday, but it is Friday. I'm happy it's Friday. Today, guys, we're going to have a great show. We have our wonderful host, Jason Bates, in the house. Jason, what's going on, brother? How's it going?
Just another beautiful day in paradise. A great day to be in real estate. That's what I keep saying.
Awesome. Jason, question for you, real quick.
Yeah,
Every time we do this, I see this cool looking statue behind you.
yeah.
Like it's to your left. It's to your left. What is what right? What is that?
So basically, it's a picture of a head, but it's got all the different emotions attached to it, right? Where it's located in the
Oh.
imagination and calculation and perseverance and so it's all surrounded in here. So a gentleman, my mentor around communication, his name is Michael Burnoff. I've done a lot of work with him on personal development. And when I joined his mastermind, he had sent me the statue. So I always put it there as a reminder of how complex the brain can be and how powerful.
Mm, nice, wonderful, wonderful. But today we have an amazing guest, Dustin. Dustin, how do you pronounce your last name, Dustin?
Yeah, Seiler. Dustin Seiler.
Dustin Seiler. Dustin Seiler. Dustin, it's such a blessing to have you on the show today, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Man, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome, man. You're very welcome. Of course, I made the mistake. For those who are watching, I had the audacity to ask, was there going to be anyone else on here? And with Dustin, and Jason was like, Derek, slow down. We only need Dustin because his story is that powerful. So, put your seatbelt on. It's going to be a good time. So we just finished our second wonderful Money Beat Challenge, which ended. It was on the 1st and the 2nd. And for those who were not in that challenge, if you want notes on that, I will actually just shoot me an email. I'll put my email into the chat, and I'll send you the PDF for the notes for day 1 and day 2. Can't wait to do that for you guys. And for any other guests that would like to join us and be on the show and talk about their wins, their deals and whatnot, please send us an email to taya@pacemurray.com. Again, that email I will put in the chat as well. But without any further ado, I'll let this wonderful interview commence. You guys have a good time.
Thank you so much, Derek.
Thanks, Derek.
I appreciate you. So real quick about myself, my name is Jason Bates. I'm a Sub-2 and Gator student as well as a top-tier TC. I am CEO and co-founder of Venture Vibes Fund, where we raise private capital for buying RV parks and other vacation-type properties. I am also co-owner of Finish Line TC Services, but we ain't here to talk about me. We're actually here to talk about Dustin and his impact on the community and how it's helped him in his real estate career. So I want to start off real quick by, what were you doing before you got into real estate or before you joined Sub-2? Because a lot of people love to hear a good origin story.
Sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. I work full-time in healthcare, and that's actually, funny enough, kind of how I got into real estate to begin with. I'm a PA, a physician assistant. I went to school in 2013. I was working doing cardiovascular research at a hospital in Salt Lake City, Utah at the time, but I got accepted to PA school in Kansas. And so I had a townhome that I had bought as a primary residence in Utah, but I was moving to Kansas. So I became an accidental landlord when I went to PA school in 2013. And that's how I sort of first got into real estate. But it took me, after I finished PA school and moved back to Utah, it took me 7 or 8 more years before I bought my next investment property because I was working full-time in healthcare. I did 2.5 years in PA school in Kansas. Then I went and did a residency in Baltimore, Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore. So I was there for a year. And then I came back to Utah and I was just head down in the job. Healthcare can be some long hours and some demanding hours, and trying to, pay student loans and get out of debt from school and that kind of stuff. And so I was just head down working long hours and not thinking about investing. And then it got to the point where things had settled down and I got into enough of a swing in healthcare that I could start considering, hey, I need to do something to sort of branch out, diversify, be able to put more of my time and effort in healthcare where I want it to go, because 60 hours a week at a hospital is not why I got into healthcare. I got into it to help people in disaster zones, in humanitarian work internationally, that kind of stuff, help people that can't always afford the healthcare. And so I really started looking at how to sort of diversify myself in order to take back more of my time and be able to put my time in healthcare where I wanted it to be rather than where my job wanted it to be. So that's how I kind of started transitioning back to real estate investing.
And that's powerful. And I've met a lot of physician assistants, a lot of people in the medical industry that they want to practice medicine their own way.
Yeah.
And being able to either own real estate or invest in funds that buy real estate allows them to develop a practice that they want to do. And so I've seen a lot of people get into real estate because they want their professional career to go in a certain way, and they can only do that with the financial freedom that real estate brings. So that's very powerful, and I want to make sure that that message got heard.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is golden handcuffs. You know, you're thankful to have the job. You're thankful to be working in a field that you love, but at the same time, you know, administrative oversight and politics of the job and all of these types of things come into play. That is not the reason you got into the career. You got into the career because you have a passion for helping people. And then you find all these other issues and things that pop up. And gratefully, there are avenues out there like investing that allow you to sort of take some of that back and be able to work how you want and where you want. And I agree with you. I see a lot of people doing the same thing of, I love my job, but I don't love the restrictions it has on me. And I want to be able to do it the way I want to do it.
And now you're talking about going from a job to a career, right? So if you can have the career you want, that's way different than a job. So that's powerful. And I've seen both sides, right? I've seen people that go, okay, well, I'm doing real estate because I want to get out of a job. And then I've seen people, I want to do real estate because I want to create the career I originally imagined before I went back to school.
Yes.
So, and that's what you're doing, which I think is huge. That's awesome.
And the nice thing about it is you can go either way. Having that ability to work how and where you want, you can formulate it however you want. That's the power of, you know, real estate and investing in general. So.
Yeah. So with that said, let's just jump right into the community. What made you decide to join the community?
Right. Yeah. So I'm Sub 2 and Gator, and I found Gator first. I was on a stretch of night shifts. And so I had just finished a stretch of night shifts at the hospital, which meant I wasn't sleeping the following few days because my schedule was a little bit messed up. And I was sitting at home thinking, you know, how do I get more capital in order to fund more investment properties? Because I had bought a couple traditional properties and realized very quickly, you scale out of that super fast. You know, putting 30% down and rates increasing 6+%. Just was not the way to do it. And so I was, you know, kind of researching how do I get more capital to invest in more properties. And I came across Pace's Gator videos on YouTube. And so I spent a couple nights, you know, sort of binge watching some of that kind of stuff. He had multiple hours of Gator videos. And when I saw that, I thought, man, this guy is giving away so much free content on these YouTube videos, and his stuff makes sense. He teaches it in a way that I understand it. It seems logical what he's doing. There's no reason that anybody couldn't do this. Why couldn't I do this? So I actually signed up for Gator, and I got into the Gator course. I jumped right into it. I started doing the trainings and started doing all this stuff. And in each of the trainings in Gator, I was watching Pace talk about, well, I talk more about this in my Sub 2 community. I talk more about this in my Sub 2 community. And just the additional value that came from what he was giving to the Sub 2 community was something I knew that I wanted to be part of. Not only the information that he gave in the Sub 2 community, but the environment that he had created, the service environment, the community feel and the community atmosphere. I have never signed up for a mentorship program before, but in watching the way he was teaching and the way he was instructing and the way he was building this community and serving and giving back, I knew that was something that I wanted to be a part of, and that was a group of people that I wanted to be a part of and grow with, because that's, you know, that sort of environment is going to lift all ships. You know, it's going to help everybody grow. And so within a week of joining Gator, I jumped right into Sub 2 and got in there and got in that community as well.
That's awesome. And one of the things I like about Gator, and I've seen very successful people start with Gator and go into Sub 2, is I know realistically when you're in Sub 2, you try to do as many transactions with none of your own money as possible. But as we do know, money loves speed, right? And sometimes a deal comes across your desk that's so good that, you know, having that capital that you have in the bank because you did a bunch of Gator deals so that you can execute on that transaction. And then maybe at the end of the day, you go refi out and you get all your money back. But it gives you the ability to pull the trigger quickly, because sometimes raising private capital takes a little bit of time in structuring a deal. So I've seen a lot of people be very successful starting in the Gator community and then jumping over to Sub 2, knowing that Sub 2 really teaches you how to be creative and how to get into real estate with none of your own money, but having something in your back pocket to let you jump on deals is really, really powerful.
Absolutely. They work so well hand in hand together. They just go together so well, helping each other out. I don't regret joining both of them. I'm glad that I did. I think they go really well together, and they give you a broad ability to participate in deals from a number of different ways. Maybe you get into a deal as a lender, as a Gator, and you gain some equity in a deal that way. Or maybe you need a Gator as a Sub 2 student. And I mean, they just are so cohesive that it's just a great symbiotic relationship.
100%. I did it different. I did Sub 2, then Gator. However, I see the value of doing Gator first and then Sub 2. But like you said, they're both powerful communities. Not only have I taken so much from both, but I've also given so much back at both because of that community that PACE definitely builds on top of.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If you're in the community, you can't help but want to give back. I mean, there's just such a giving and service oriented nature to it that it just lends itself to you wanting to also contribute to that.
Yeah. And of all the courses I've taken and podcasts I've listened to and books I've read, I've only made traction in the areas where I've had community.
Right.
So that's huge. So with that said, how did you find this deal? Was it from the Sub 2 community? Was it somewhere else?
No. So this deal was posted on a For Sale by Owner business Facebook group. It was the owner was they were considering, they weren't even 100% on it. Apparently, in talking to him as we were going on, he said, they were going to just shut it down for a year and not do anything with it for a year. And then his wife saw somebody else selling a similar business and said to him, why don't you just check this out and see what the options are? So they posted it For Sale by Owner in a business group. And that's where I saw it. That's where I found it.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So kind of break down the deal for the audience so they can understand what you went into, because it sounds like it's more than just real estate. You actually bought into a business as well.
Yeah, it is. So it was a combination. What it is there's 7 acres about 30 miles north of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, that has a 3-bed, 2-bath house on it. And then the seller that I bought this from, when they bought it, they cleared out a patch of the forest in the area to use as a wedding venue. So they have sort of this forested wedding ceremony area on the property, in addition to this home and large grassy area where they hold receptions and stuff. So they set this up as a wedding and event venue. And then when it wasn't being used as that, they were also using it as a short-term rental. So if they didn't have a wedding book, they'd list it on, Airbnb, those kind of things. We're doing pretty well with it as a short-term rental, and then also having these weddings and events there. When they would host the wedding, the bride and groom get to stay in the home for the night, immediately following the wedding. So you don't have to rush off to your hotel or anything like that. You're already there. They've got 4 RV spots on the property as well. So, sometimes people would have family coming from out of town, and that family would either be able to camp on the 7 acres or park their RV on one of those spots. And, sometimes the celebration will go a little bit late into the night. Sometimes people aren't in a condition to drive home right after that. And so it was kind of nice to have that sort of size of area for family to stay in. And so, there's a few other venues in the area, but they were doing pretty well with it from a wedding standpoint as well as a short-term rental standpoint.
Sounds like it gives you a lot of opportunities to grow. You can add more pads, you can add tiny homes, you can turn it into retreats, corporate retreats and stuff like that. Just so many possibilities. That's amazing.
That's one of the things I really liked about it, is there were so many dispo strategies with it. It's because I got it as a subject too on the property. The rate is really good on it. I can probably break even at least on a long-term rental in that area. They had a midterm renter in it that was about double what the mortgage was. It does really well as a short-term rental. We're fully booked out up through August right now as a short-term rental. You've got the wedding venue site, you've got the RV pad. So there were so many various options for it, which was one of the things I really liked about it. You're not stuck with just, if one doesn't work out, you have no other options. This one had multiple options.
I love that. So you got the property itself, Sub 2, and then was the business part, was that creative finance? How'd that work?
Yeah, we had to go kind of really creative on the business part. So initially we kind of formulated this plan. He had, based off of the numbers that they had when they had been running it, we came up with this agreement, and we were going to make monthly payments on the business portion, basically take the home subject to and make monthly payments on the business portion.
Okay.
When we went up there and did the due diligence on it, though, basically the business had kind of stopped being run. They had some health issues and some other stuff come up. And so there weren't ads being run for it. Leads that had come in hadn't been followed up with. There was no bookings for this year. So that had kind of fallen off a little bit. And so during the due diligence, we had to renegotiate and be pretty creative with the business portion of it. So what we came up with was we just basically took over the home subject to, we did give them a down payment on it. We basically bought the home for what they bought it for 2 years ago and kept their interest rate on it, which is 3%. So that turned out really well.
Nice.
And then from the business standpoint, we determined that we would start giving them a payment of 10% of net profits starting in year 2. So the first year we knew was going to be slim. We're getting it back up and running. We're getting leads coming back in again. We're following up with those and getting the pipeline flowing. And then starting in year 2, we'll give them a 10% cut of the net profits after all expenses and everything. And there's no minimum payment on that. It's just whatever our net is. If it's $5, they get, 10% of that. So we'll do that for 6 years. And then in year 7, as long as we've reached $50,000 a year in annual net cash flow, we'll give them a $50,000 balloon payment in year 7. And then that's it. So we basically structured it that all of the additional payments are coming based off of the performance of the business and the property itself.
I love that. That's incredible. It's called creative finance because you can be as creative as you want to be.
Yeah, it really is. And that one took some doing, we had to kind of figure some stuff out as to where it would work based off of the numbers we saw when we finally got up there and really dug into it. And, luckily we were able to figure something out, and it kind of keeps us all engaged, right? Because he's engaged to continue this business. He wants to see the vision that he had for this business succeed, but also, it's in his best interest for it to do well, because that increases his payment on it.
So are you having him still manage the business so you're hands off so you can still focus on your career? Or?
So we have an operations manager up there, because my career obviously in healthcare is pretty busy. I have a private money partner on this. She's also in healthcare. So both of us are, kind of busy with that end of it. We have an operations manager up there that kind of oversees the day-to-day and the turnovers for the short-term rental, the tours for the wedding venue, that kind of stuff. She has a team of a couple people underneath her that help out with that and work with her. So we have that in place. The seller is a marketer. He does marketing for some other businesses and stuff. So he agreed to do the marketing for us for at least the first year at cost. And then we can renegotiate that and see how things are going starting in year 2. But for this first year, he's running ads and doing marketing for us. At his cost on it, basically.
Nice. So how is the community involved with this deal?
So the community, there was a few different people that jumped in and took a look at it. Justin Tumanowski was one of them. He's a good friend of mine in the community, and I reached out to him and just ran it past him, and he was gracious enough, because he's a busy guy, but he took some time to take a look at it and gave me some things to think about, especially when purchasing a business with online marketing and, things to think about, like domains, websites, social media, all these things that you want to negotiate and have in your contract that you're going to take over so that you're not missing anything at close. And so there was a lot of stuff that he brought up that I needed to take a look at. And that actually came into play when we renegotiated with the seller. We went and said, hey, look, man, these kind of things aren't functioning like they should be. We're going to have to do some work on this. So really, really grateful to him for taking a look at that and helping me out with it. Jen Billett was also someone who took a look at it, and she helped me out with contracts and structure and all that kind of stuff. She's a killer down in Arizona, just doing amazing work buying businesses. She's a very, very smart business acquisitions person, and she's doing some great work down there. So really grateful that she was able to jump on a Zoom with me and talk me through some stuff and help me out with the structure and the contract and getting all that stuff across the finish line. And then, Molly Tennant and then Shelly Heyer worked on the TC side of it and really helped out with that. And, Molly is a genius when it comes to structuring these creative deals as well. And Shelly is right there with her. You know, both of them were so helpful in this. Shelly has done a couple different deals for me as a TC, and she's saved my butt on some deals. She's really great at pointing out things to think about, you know, things to consider, making sure that I've thought through everything. And, you know, she's not just, we're going to do whatever, you know, she's making you think about it and saying, hey, is this really what you want to do here? So yeah, it was great to have her involved with this as well.
And that's powerful, right? And I'm glad you brought up that point about a TC, because one of the things that TCs are really good at is they're there to tell the emperor he's not wearing clothes, right? So
yes.
So yeah, she'll tell you where your blind spots are, and she clearly did, and it just makes your transaction so much more successful. And you're right about Molly. I mean, she is a creative genius when it comes to structuring deals. You know, I'm about to close on my first RV park, and I had some time with her on a Zoom, and I said, hey, we got some spare time. Can I just run this transaction past and just see? And then I ran the whole thing in front of her. She goes, that's how I would structure it. So yeah. Just having people in the community that are willing to just, you know, either validate that what you're doing is on the right track, or to just nudge you in the right direction is just, I mean, that's worth it all right there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And TCs, obviously, you know, as you're well aware, they're not there to structure your deal for you. They're not going to come in and say, this is, you know, yeah. But what's great about Molly and Shelly and some of these other ones is they will come and say, hey, have you considered this? Maybe take a look at this. They're not going to just do it for you. You're going to have to do it on your own. But they have seen enough of these deals that they can point out things that they've seen from experience and say, maybe just consider this a little bit, which is so helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's powerful. And that's why you need a powerful operator like Molly too, because they do that exact same thing. So yes, great point.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's huge. So how would you say Sub 2 and Gator, for that matter, how's it impacted your life?
Man, it's changed my life in a lot of different ways. Obviously, I've been able to do deals that I wouldn't have been able to do before. There's been opportunities to acquire deals from other people that have brought them. There's been opportunity to acquire deals just from the knowledge and education that I've gained. I had no idea about creative finance before I joined Sub 2. And so, you know, the way I've been able to get deals and get into deals has changed significantly from what I was doing before. So that was a big part of it. The biggest part of it, or at least one of the biggest parts of it, has been the mindset shift. The way of thinking in general, and the way of having sort of a creative mindset, and getting over that limited mindset and getting into just a broader base of, you know, it's not, I can't do this. It's how can I do this? Mm-hmm. Right? There's nothing that you can't do. You just got to figure out how to do it and think creatively. And that plays across so many different areas of your life. It's not just real estate. It's not just investing. It's, you think differently at your W-2. You think differently in your relationships with people outside of work. You think differently just in general. More positivity in this group than any other group I've been part of, more service oriented in this group, and more, just helping others. And so it's those types of things, mindset things that come into play that follow you throughout your life and not just in your investing journey, that has been the biggest change from the community in general. I've met some of my best friends from the community, people that I have done deals with, that I want to do deals with, people that I just enjoy hanging out with at these events and things like that, and just getting to know them on a personal level as well, because they're amazing people. And it's just raised the stakes of what I believe I can do in my life because of the people that I'm around. So when you see these high level operators doing amazing things and believing that you can do it as well, because everybody is so helpful and uplifting and positive, and they want you to succeed. Mm-hmm. And that obviously comes from Pace Down. He's built it that way on purpose. Yeah. But because of that, it expands what you believe you can do, and it expands your mindset, and you start thinking of accomplishing things you never would have thought of before, which just opens a whole new world to you. And it brings you access to things you never would have had access to before. Access to deals, access to capital, access to bigger deals than you ever would have thought. I bought an RV creatively. I never would have thought I could buy an RV creatively before I joined this community. You know, there's just so many things that come up that you never would have had access to before. I've been in rooms with people I would never have gotten in a room with before, Marcus Lemonis and people like that, that I would never have had a chance to be in a room with had I not been in this community. It's just been life-changing.
Yeah, and you're right. Everybody is there to pick you up in some way, shape, or form. And you really hit the nail on the head, right? I've noticed that people want to do business with friends. People open their checkbooks with friends. So being able to build those relationships that create friendships, but they're not transactional relationships. They're not expecting you to give something in order to give something, but because people give so freely, you want to give freely, and then everybody wins.
Yeah.
You know, everybody gets a seat at the table and everybody gets to eat, and that's really powerful. And I don't see that in too many other areas outside of this community.
It's really that abundance mindset. You hear it talked about, but in this community, you see it lived. And that's the difference, you know?
That's true. Actions speak volumes, right? Yeah. So yes,
right.
you definitely see that here. So Dustin, what's up next for you? What's on the horizon?
I want to do more deals, man. I'm hungry to do more deals. So yeah, I'm a buyer and I'm looking to buy more. I would love to help people get deals done. You know, if anybody is new out there and they're struggling, they need a second set of eyes. People have been so great at looking at deals for me. If I can help somebody else look at their deals from an outside perspective and just kind of lend an idea of what's going on, I'd love to do that for people. If they need help closing a deal or getting it across the finish line, I would be happy to help out with that and JV with people on deals. Or just JV in general with people who are ahead of me and just looking to do deals with you. I would just want to do deals with awesome people, you know?
Yeah.
I'm a buyer in Utah, pretty much anywhere in Utah creatively. I am looking to start transitioning more towards a co-living thing to kind of help out with the difficulty paying rent and stuff like that, especially, you know, in Utah, the rents haven't kept up with the mortgage payments. And so I'm looking at doing a little bit more creative dispo on that end and would love to partner with some people on that. Always looking for capital to do deals. My private money partner on this deal in Idaho was someone who had not done a creative deal before. And the reason she came into it with me was she wanted to learn the process. So for anybody out there that has capital, whether you work with me or somebody else, if you want to learn the process and get a part of a deal, that is a great way to do it. If you have capital that you're looking to invest in, can sit on it for a little while, to partner with somebody and have them walk you through the process as you go along. That's a great way to do it. So yeah, looking for some of that. And then, just looking to do more deals. Co-living specifically is what I'm kind of looking at right now. And then I'm also a business buyer. Obviously, this one is a combination. I love combination businesses, assisted living, addiction recovery with sober living components, those types of things that have both a business and a real estate component and offer some sort of service to people. I really love those businesses. So if people are looking to partner on those, or if they know somebody that's looking to sell, I'd love to take a look at it.
Yeah, and I love that you want to give back. And because I remember when I joined in 2022, there was a handful of people that just came out and just showered me with help without even asking. So I made the promise I would always pay it forward. So I'm glad you're doing that. And I want to give a shout out to Marianne and Nicole for saying hi to us and letting us know that you guys are out there listening.
I've seen a few great people pop up on here. I saw the Shippies were on there, and appreciate everybody tuning in there. But yeah, especially anybody that's new, that's trying to find their feet in the community or in their investment journey, I would love to talk with them and see if I can, kind of help. Like you said, people were so great at helping you determine your path forward when you started. And me as well, I had that same experience. People were so generous and give an outpouring of advice and information that if somebody's kind of confused, looking to figure out what their place in the community is or what their place in their investment journey is, they need a little bit of direction, anything like that, I would love to have a conversation with them and just chat about it and see if I can help in any way.
Well, here's a great piece of advice you can leave people with. What would you say to someone who was on the fence about joining one of these communities?
The first thing I would say is ask yourself why you want to join the community. If you just want to join because you think it's a way to make a whole ton of money really fast and get really rich and retire and that kind of stuff, it is not an easy button. It is not a get rich quick thing. It's going to take work. you're expected to give back, you're expected to contribute to the community, those types of things. But if you're somebody that wants to expand your horizons, if you want to be part of an amazing community, if you're service oriented, if you have an abundance mindset and you want to learn and grow with other people, and you want to be able to not only raise yourself, but bring others up in the process, then there's no better community and no other place that you should be. If you're confused and you need some direction, this community will help you. As long as you come in with the right mindset of, I'm going to be humble, I'm going to give back, and I'm going to get to work, this is where you should be. And if you're on the fence about that, I'll have a conversation with you about that all day long. I love this community. I think it is the right place to be for those types of people that have that kind of mindset. Not a get rich quick, not an easy button, but if you want to really grow and expand and become a better version of yourself, this is a place to do it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And you're right. You have to do the heavy lifting, right? It's not to get rich quick. I know a lot of people think, okay, well, I did a certification, now the money should start rolling in. That's where it begins, right? And the biggest gift you can get somebody is to allow them to help you. That's the biggest gift. And the best way to pay it back is to take action. So if someone's taking the time to teach you, take action and go out and do those deals or do the things that have to be done. So that is an excellent point. So with that said, I know a lot of people are going to want to reach out to you. You've got the kind of energy that people are looking for. What's the best way for people to connect with you?
Yeah, great way to connect with me is on Instagram. My handle's on the screen there, _Dustin J. You can DM me there, connect with me there. I'm also on Facebook, Dustin Seiler on Facebook. You can find me there. So those are Instagram's probably the better way to connect with me, but you can find me either spot.
Awesome. I appreciate you. Again, great story. People needed to hear it. You show that you not only have to be successful in all your adventures, but you also have to, like you said, be humble, ability to ask for help, and the ability to give back. And so if people follow that formula, I don't see how anybody couldn't be successful in this environment.
No, absolutely. I agree. There's too much opportunity here. If you do those things, you're going to find success. There's just too much opportunity and too many people willing to help along the way.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thank you for your time, my friend. This was amazing. I was glad to connect with you. And I know Derek, he sits in the back and take notes. So I know he's
I do, man. I take notes. I'm like listening to Dustin, and of course I'm always learning from you, Jason. I'm taking notes because Pace, he is no joke. He be on me. Derek, what did you learn? What did you learn? Pace, I'm learning, man. I know that I need to be a stalker and stalk these people like the Dustins and the Jasons of the world. But thank you so much, Dustin, for being on today, man. Like, your story is awesome. I love what you said about the community. I'm a big people guy. I love people. It's just in my DNA.
Yeah.
But I like what you said. Both of you said about it's not a get rich quick. It's not. You have to do work, right? But I think from what I've seen with the community, you're not on an island. You have so many, the Molly Tennants of the world and the Jay Jarvises of the world, and there's tons of people like that, right?
Yeah.
So it's you're not by yourself. And I hear a lot of people that you can look at people in their eyes. It's like, okay, I have to do this and I have to do that. And they're always using that I, and I'm like, you don't get it. And I respect the fact that they don't get it, because for me, when I was first around the community, it was like a utopia. Like, is this real?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, hey, I want to make a lot of money. Generally speaking, most people aren't trying to help you, and you're an absolute stranger and you just walked up out of nowhere. But in this community, that's the culture. It truly is.
And I will tell you there, it can be easy. Don't get me wrong. There's easy aspects of real estate, but again, you have to put in the work. You have to give back, and then you have to do some of the heavy lifting. But there are parts of it are easy. It's not all just hard work and no return.
Right.
It's hard work, and some things are easy. Some things take additional work, and some things push you hard enough to say, okay, well, I think I need to ask for more help. I thought I had it, but I didn't. And again, people will step up out of nowhere from this community and say, yeah, I'll give you a hand.
Well, and when you finally find your avatar, and that's one of the great things about this community is there is a place for everyone. You may not be a wholesaler, doesn't matter. There's a place for you here, right? No matter what your strength is, there's a place for you here. And when you find that avatar and figure out what really drives you and what you're passionate about, it feels a lot easier, right? Putting in that work and that time and that consistency feels so much easier because you found where you fit and what you're passionate about.
Yes. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, there's so many people that are passionate in this community that it becomes contagious. And when you look at people, generally speaking, we judge. I hate to say this, but sometimes we make judgments. But in this community, I've learned that I don't care what you look like. I am not assuming anything. I've spoken to some of the most unassuming individuals in this community that they start speaking. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
like it's like, I know Pace is brilliant, but it's like you are too.
Yeah.
Where you been hiding that from the world?
Yeah, exactly. It's so amazing. But again, Dustin, yes, thank you so much for being on here, man. Also, to a quick announcement. So I know this is far off, end of August, but end of August, Pace will be at the next Limitless Expo. That's going to be August 29th, the 30th, and the 31st. But of course, because the Limitless Expo understands how amazing our Pace is, they're having him showcased on the 31st, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want that good stuff, you got to come for a few days, right? So Pace is going to be doing his thing. The Limitless Expo, for many of those who don't know what it's about financial freedom, and these individuals who have the hack, if you will, for that. Pace is one of them. He'll be speaking on the 31st. That's going to be in Dallas, Texas. I put a link in the chat. And if you want to go, use the code PACE10, all caps. PACE10, get 10% off. Look into it, click the link. All the information is there for you. But yeah, that's going to be a great event. Also, we just finished the Money Bee Challenge on the 1st and the 2nd. So if you want notes on that, let us know. And I'm going to put my email in the chat in a second. But before I put my email in the chat, a more important email is taya@pacemorby.com. For any of you who are in the Gator community, if you're in the Sub 2 community as students, Top Tier TC community, and you want to be on the show, like Dustin, and explain to us your deal, what your highs, your lows, and all that, it's going to be vital that you do that, because there are people in this community that are trying to figure out their first deal. They're working things out. They need the advice. They need to talk to you. They need your Instagram handle so that they can talk to you. That's what this community is about. So please reach out to Taya@pacemorby.com. I have it in the chat. Shoot her an email and say, hey, I want to be on the show. I have a lot to say. And join us, and we'll have a good time. Absolutely. Thank you, Jason. You're amazing, bro. Thank you so much.
My friend, it's this community, right? I love this is my opportunity to get back, like I said. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. So, you guys, you have plans for the weekend? What's going on?
I actually have a single family. I kind of changed my journey to more multifamily. So I got a single family I'm trying to get prepared to either rent or sell. So it's time to get all my single families in order so I can concentrate on these multifamily stuff that are coming in the pipeline.
Beautiful.
That's awesome.
How about you, Dustin?
I'm working. I'm working this weekend at the hospital. Yeah, so I'm on nights through the weekend at the hospital. So we're dealing with the old 4th of July aftermath right now.
Okay.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as a superhero, got to do it. That's awesome. It's awesome.
Good stuff. It's good stuff. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Somebody in the chat, somebody said yes, please, for the notes. Nicole, you're amazing, Nicole. We love you, Nicole. We'll shoot you that information. Shoot me an email, Nicole. Let me go ahead and put Taya's email there. That's going to pop up for you there. And then I'm Derek Smith. I have 2 R's. This is the best way to spell the word Derek. Don't trust anyone who tells you different. I'm at pacemorby.com as well. And yes, Nicole, I'll get that information over to you. So email me and you'll have those notes from day 1 and day 2, PDF. Pace goes hard. It is amazing information.
That Money Bee challenge was really great stuff. That was really good.
Right?
He's making it as easy as possible for people to get these deals done. So yeah, I would, if you weren't on it, I would definitely get those notes because it was good stuff.
Yep.
Yes, thank you for that backup, Dustin. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
definitely. So everybody have a good weekend. Dustin has work to do. Jason has RV parks to purchase, and I have more notes to take. So
awesome.
Be good, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Good to be here.
Appreciate y'all.
Pleasure, gentlemen.